So I was wondering if it is safe to say that the civil war is over or the civil war is ongoing.
No, I think the civil war has just started.
I would like to start by asking you, what's the current situation in Syria? What's happening today?
Several days ago, the opposition forces started to liberate many cities from Assad regime in Syria. Now all Syria has separated from this dictatorship regime, and Bashar al-Assad has escaped from Syria to Moscow. Yeah, I think everybody know about the news that Minister of Affairs of Moscow has spoken that Bashar al-Assad is now in Moscow. A lot of officers from last regime stay in Syria. Now all the opposition forces try to deal with them. They announced a forgiveness statement to all Syrian regime officers in Syria. They can back to work again. All the employees in the government, they came back to association and government to work normally there.
Mhm.
Today also the government announced and create a new government in Syria and now started to work in Damascus, the capital.
Mhm. What happened during the weekend? How would you describe or define what we saw on Sunday?
Yesterday, a lot of people was looking for the detainees in the Syrian regime prisons in Syria, especially in Damascus. Uh, I think all the world saw the videos and picture of the detainees who torture and kidnapped in Syria, and they are thousands inside these prisons. Uh, the Syrian opposition forces liberated them from these jails. Actually, it's monsters jails. Now they are free. Some opposition forces are looking for secret prisons belonging to regime,
Mhm.
especially in Coast. When I mean Coast, I mean Latakia state and Tartu state. Uh, there is also some secret prisons in Damascus. Also, opposition forces now searching to liberate all the detainees there. But they couldn't know any kind or any prison of these secret prisons inside Damascus and its countryside. Also, the Israeli forces, the Israeli government and its aircraft start to advance in the southern side of Syria and took over some lands and villages and Al-Bas city. They took also a mountain. It's called Sheikh. They took over there. Israel claims that they are trying to secure their borders with Syria because some of Islamic groups maybe defeat or treat their security. Also, during the 4 days, since 4 days ago, the Israeli aircraft shelled many airports, headquarters for regime previously, strategic guns for regime. They actually they destroyed everything.
Mhm.
Especially also I want to mention that also they shelled a chemical weapon store around Damascus and Yabrud, Kalamon. This area regime used to hide the chemical weapon inside the mountains in secret places. Israeli aircraft shelled all this store.
So I was wondering if it is safe to say that the civil war is over or the civil war is ongoing.
No, I think the civil war has just started. Yes, it has just started because there is a lot of opposition and loyalty for regime. Those those people will not live together, never. Now all the people, all the opposition forces uh, speak about revenge from Syrian officers, regime, from criminals who comment a lot of uh, killing people, innocent people, civilians, Syrian pilots. They are looking for them. Most of killers of regime killers are hiding now between the people. So the opposition forces and the people who loyalty to the Syrian revolution they are looking for those people, those criminal people, as they claim. So I think that Syrian civil war will just started now. Maybe in the upcoming years, there will be a lot of blood in the street and cities and villages.
Okay. And how are people leading or living their daily lives today? Are people going to work, to study? Life is going normally?
Yes, everything back normally, especially in Damascus, Aleppo, Hama, Homs, and all liberated cities in Syria. Everything back normally. All the people back to work. School is still working. Uh, Police are now back to work. Uh, Everything, yeah, everything is working back to normally right now.
You mentioned that many officers, the government officers, went back to work. So how is Syria going to decide who is going to be held accountable for the crimes, for the violence, for torture, and who is going to be pardoned and just let them go back to work and to serve the government? How are you going to decide who is going to be held accountable and who's not?
Yes, now there is nothing clear about this issue. So uh, the political management announced that all the officers inside Syria who belong to regime, they have to back to work again. No one will arrest them. No one will kidnap them. No one will do anything with them. But I told you about the people, the revenge of people, the revenge of some of opposition forces that they want revenge. The accountability, maybe it will be after one, maybe one year or less than that. For some people, for some high ranks officer in the Syrian regime, and the officers who committed crimes against humanity and some opposition or people or civilians in Syria. But the police, sorry, there is two kind of officers. There is police officers and army officers. The army officers, most of them commit crimes against civilians by shelling by aircrafts, by tanks, by artillery, by, a whole kind uh, of guns. But the police officers, they haven't do a lot of crimes against civilians in Syria, so they normally back to work right now. But the army officers that are hiding right now.
Okay, what can you tell us about the power transition? We're hearing that there's these meetings or this consultation spaces between the opposition forces, the prime minister. How can you what can you tell us about this power transition currently?
Yes, the prime minister of regime has give up all the association inside Syria, all the government ministers back to work right now, which the opposition forces created right now. They took over all the tasks from the old government of Syrian regime. Everything transferred peacefully. Nothing happened. All the ministers and prime minister meeting together, and they took over everything from them. Some of them still working right now.
Are people talking about elections, free elections, for example?
Now we can't. No one can say about election because there's a lot of guns inside the streets between the people. The new government will take a lot of heavy task to pull over the guns from the people. There is because you can't do election while the gun inside the streets, the tanks inside the street. The people have a lot of guns. Maybe civil war is coming. So the election we are talking about it take up for maybe 1 year or 2 years to happen.
One of the main fears that we see from outside is that a new government, the eventual new government, turns out to be more repressive, religious, driven, more oppressive with minorities. Is this a
The new government took over all this what are you talking about? But there is Islamic group inside Syria. This is Islamic groups will make big trouble for the new government and the opposition forces inside Syria. But I think nothing will be peacefully but while the transaction between the governments inside Syria. There are a lot of task that the new government has to do it inside Syria and the liberated area. Also, Syrian Democratic Forces in the eastern side of Euphrates, East Syria, they need to negotiate with each other to make Syria united. I think in this situation, the government has a lot of troubles to do inside Syria and to solve it.
Yeah, you're I wanted to go that direction and ask you today, what are the main challenges for Syria to live in peace? Respect the minorities, respect different religious and ethnic groups. What are those main challenges for Syria to reach peace?
Yes, the peace. All the Syrian people want peace after 14 years of war inside Syria. All the Syrian people want peace inside Syria, no matter the religious, no matter anything. But some forces inside Syria are playing of a minority and majority inside Syria. So this minority and majority will make civil war right now. Also, the loyalty of for Syrian regime and the opposition forces loyalty also will make a civil war. Maybe make Syria again Syria make Syria peaceful again. Need a lot of works between the people, the community, united together to defeat all these forces which are playing to divorce Syria and make it several states.
Okay, as you said, we have seen Israel moves during the last days. It has taken control of the Syrian Golan Heights. Turkey has its own interests. European countries are halting decisions over the asylum seekers. So, what is concerning you the most about the international outlook towards what's happening in Syria, the attitude that other countries are taking towards this problem or this situation?
Actually, all countries that you have speak about have forces inside Syria. So these forces are fighting together here. It's like proxy war. Since 14 years until now, it's proxy war. So all these forces are fighting each other to control of the Damascus or to control of over Syria. Maybe by the international community and the countries who involved inside the Syrian file meeting together and find a solution to end this fight inside Syria and prevent civil war.
From outside, it's been like interpreted that the situation is resolved, that everything is going back to normal in Syria, so that all the refugees can go back to their country, to their homes. But there's still a big humanitarian crisis. So, what's your message for those countries, organizations, to keep helping Syrian people?
Yes. Actually, several countries announced that the Syrian people and outside of Syria, they can back now to Syria. Actually, that's not true. The situation here maybe at any time will explode and make a civil war here. So the situation here is not safe right now. Maybe after 1 or 2 years, the situation will be good to bag all the Syrians around the world and bag them to Syria. Yes. My message to the countries, please help us to prevent a civil war.
And how can they help that? Through diplomatic efforts, aid? What can they do?
Maybe AIDS will not help to prevent civilian war. Maybe also diplomatic issues will not also help the Syrian to prevent a civilian war. I think there benefits from Syria. Some countries have need benefits from Syria for oil or humanitarian forces, some commercial issues. These countries, if they group together and make an agreement between each other to make Syria united and help Syria to grow up again and create a new Syria. This will help the Syrian people to prevent a civilian war, a civil war inside Syria. Also, the forces which are belonging to some countries, these forces are taking orders from these countries inside Syria. So all the forces inside Syria must cut their relation with these countries to prevent a civilian war.